I'm 8 years old, sitting on the edge of an exam table, extremely anxious. You don't have cancer, the doctor tells me. You're too young. But do you know that? I ask. She runs a basic blood test. It's normal. See, you're fine. But where does it say I don't have cancer, though? I ask. She sighs. This is just the best that we can do. 6 months earlier, my grandmother, Caroline, the person everybody said I was just alike, had been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And a few months later, she was gone. At 8, all I could think about was, if we're so alike, what if the same thing happens to me? That day at the doctor's office, I realized the answers I wanted didn't exist. And so began my obsession with diagnostics, with health optimization, and with a vision for the future of health where no one loses someone they love into a late-stage diagnosis they don't see coming. Since then, I've become a Johns Hopkins-trained bioinformatician, served as head of research at a wearables and diagnostics firm, and stayed obsessed with bringing that future of health vision to life. There's a revolution happening in healthcare, not just in doctors' offices, but from the data generated in our daily lives. This here, it's an electrode. It measures the electricity in my body local to the region it's placed on. And it doesn't have to be alone. I could have another on my stomach and one behind my ear, listening to my cardiac rhythms, my digestion, and my brain's electrical activity with a level of accuracy once limited to labs. We now have watches, straps, rings, patches, and other wearables that can track everything from basic vitals and metabolic biomarkers to stress, activity, and sleep levels. Some offer FDA-cleared features like ECG, irregular heart rhythm notifications, sleep apnea detection, and hypertension alerts. Others can integrate with the FDA's first approved digital birth control app for non-invasive, non-hormonal contraception. You can now order full blood lab panels with over 100 comprehensive biomarkers directly through an app that will integrate with your continuous biometric data. Others integrate with continuous glucose monitors, a small skin sensor that shows how your blood sugar levels are affected by sleep, food, stress. Smart earrings are coming, and the latest version of AirPods can actually measure your heart rate. There's even headbands that can actually interact with your brain's electrical activity. For example, sending gentle electrical pulses that studies indicate can help you fall asleep faster and sleep more deeply. The revolution is also reaching your bathroom, turning it into a diagnostics lab. There's in-toilet urine scanners that can analyze everything from pH, hydration, vitamin C, ketones, and more. There's gut and vaginal microbiome tests that offer insights into your health, symptoms, and even fertility. There's also saliva and urine-based hormone tests that can help you track your menstrual cycle and stress over time. And let's not leave genetics out. There's now devices that can sequence both your DNA and RNA with enough accuracy for field diagnostics and fit in the palm of your hand. These are the devices quietly redefining what's possible in healthcare. But it's not about devices alone. What really matters is what they can tell us about the complex, layered systems that make us human. We often think of the human body as a finished product, but we're not static. We're living electrical ecosystems shaped by trillions of microbes built on dynamic molecular layers that are constantly interacting with the environment. I want to break that down. We are electric. Our organ systems, from our brains to our hearts, run on electricity. We are microbial. Trillions of microbes shape our mood, metabolism, and immunity, and even interact with our electrical signals. We are molecular. DNA is the blueprint, but epigenetics, RNA, and proteins shape our health moment by moment. We are immune-powered. The immune system quietly affects our energy, resilience, and mental health. And when it's affected, it pulls heavily from our power supply. Fatigue, brain fog, and even aging often trace back to immune system activity we don't feel directly. We are subtly quantum. At the edges, quantum may underlie some of our least understood processes, like scent, consciousness, and gut-brain signaling. And lastly, we exist in an environment. Food, medications, temperature, light, humidity, air pollution, and many other factors influence every layer above. When my grandmother was diagnosed, we didn't have much real-time insight into these layers. Now we do, and that changes everything. And when we can combine that visibility with smart systems, we can go from tracking to truly transforming care. Closed-loop care means we don't just collect data, we act on it. Your body generates signals, sensors capture those, AI interprets that data in context, the system routes that insight to the right place, whether that's you, your doctor, a digital tool. You get timely, personalized feedback, and with each iteration, the system learns, getting smarter, faster, and more precise over time. I want to show you one loop end to end, how this works in real life. You buy a ring, curious, hoping for better sleep and more energy. It immediately flags something you've normalized: restless nights and daytime fatigue. Behind the scenes, it sees oxygen dips, microarousals, and irregular breathing, patterns tied to sleep apnea. You get an FDA-compliant prompt. You may be at risk for sleep apnea. Enable diagnostic mode? You tap yes. That night, the ring switches to a validated diagnostic mode with higher resolution sampling. The next morning, a structured report appears in the app, which connects you to a telehealth sleep specialist doctor. They already have everything they need: your report, your blood work, and your continuous biometric data to make a diagnosis and recommend the next best step. Your personalized treatment begins, and the ring keeps tracking. It sees oxygen stabilize, wake-ups drop, and heart rate variability improve. This is vertically integrated care, where sensing, diagnosis, treatment, and follow-up happen in one continuous data-driven loop. You bought the ring out of curiosity, but it resulted in early detection and proactive care. And this works for more than just sleep apnea. It works for a wide array of conditions. Why does this matter? Because too often, diagnosis comes late. For example, 80% of sleep apnea, 90% of prediabetes, and 20% of atrial fibrillation goes undetected until symptoms progress. For example, leading to cognitive decline, full-blown diabetes, or a cardiac event. When this data meets AI at the population level, it can transform the entire system. The vertically integrated model reshapes how we generate evidence, ensure safety, and deliver therapies at scale. Clinical trials can measure participants at home in real time. Regulators can see real-world safety and efficacy data. Pharma can see real results across diverse populations, and payers can link coverage to real impact. The key word is real. Real data driving decisions. Of course, this must be enabled by secure, consent-driven processes that protect individuals' privacy. We all know the medical establishment is not perfect, but closed-loop care helps us course-correct faster, which means cell and gene therapies can be monitored for progress at home. Metabolic therapies can be guided by wearables for dosing and use body composition analysis. Microbiome therapies can be precisely targeted to avoid antibiotic overuse, and hormone therapies can be adjusted dynamically. Pharmacogenetics can even match your drug and dose to your DNA. All hold huge promise, especially when guided by data that tells us what works, for whom, when, for how long, and in what dose. This isn't someday. The future of health is here now and evolving rapidly. For me, it's not just about innovation. It's about making sure no one else loses someone they love to a late-stage diagnosis they didn't see coming. It's about asking the question I asked over 20 years ago. Do you actually know that? We're building a future of health where your body talks, the system listens, and the right care finds you, before you ever had to question whether something was wrong. So I'll leave you with this. Do you know right now what your body is saying? And if the answer is no, the tools we talked about today exist. Go get a wearable or a diagnostic, take charge of your health, and start listening. The future of health begins right here, right now, with you.